You can see here that these beans are actually starting to go brown, and that means it won't be long before we'll be able to pick the seeds and put them into storage till we want them next year. Although we've had some pretty cool days, they're also interspersed with actually quite warm days. Today is one of those days. It's actually been 21 degrees here in our no-dig Norfolk garden. Look at this, Mrs. W. It's even starting to give us a new bean.
Oh, there must have been a flower that we never noticed.
Being in a Zone 9A garden, we don't expect our first major frost until mid-November. They did forecast us actually last week to have a frost, last Friday in fact. But it actually only got down to about 3 degrees Celsius. So we didn't quite see the frost. We could see a bit on the roof, couldn't we?
Yeah, a little bit of white on the roof, but
The ground, the grass, there was nothing. So we got away with that one. And it would have been unusual for things to get quite frosted. Well, not even in towards the end of October yet. So it's quite relieved for that. Now in our last video, we prepped the greenhouse in particular, ready to put some plants in that will give us food over late autumn and through winter and into 2025. In particular, the garlic. Today, we need to make some more plantings. But undercover spaces are not just for planting your plants. They also provide very good storage places. I need to move our potatoes in there. And of course, Mrs. W's tubs that she has down by the patio. Hello and welcome back to the No-Dig Norfolk Gardener. Now it's important that we do move potatoes into our undercover spaces. And if you don't have a greenhouse or a polytunnel like we have, then put them in your most sheltered space. If you've got a patio that doesn't really receive the frost that much, that's not a bad place to put them. But if you leave them to the elements of the frost, at best, they will interrupt their growth. But at worst, it will actually kill them. And all the effort you've gone to will be wasted, which is something we don't want. Now, as you saw a couple of 3 videos back, we actually have probably got about 11 tubs now of our main crop potatoes. So they're going to see us through nicely. We also actually still have about 8-9 tubs of some Charlotte that we started off earlier in the year. All of the haulms have been cut back and they're actually down near the house in a sheltered position, still in their tubs. And as and when we feel like we want a nice new potato, we empty a tub and have them. So we've got quite a few potatoes. These ones here you see behind me, we started off, to the best of my memory, in September.
yeah, I think it was September.
And you can see they've put on a lot of growth, but I don't want to lose them. So here they will remain, and they should give us harvest from late November and through December. We did say in our last video about, well, it wasn't our last video, actually it was the top tips to scale back on your watering. And that's quite true, because some of the plants that are going in here are going to overwinter. They're not going to grow that much, and what you don't want to do is to rot them. But if you have got your potatoes in here, to make them swell, they are going to need water. So do ensure that you water them regularly. So today I want to do some more planting here in this greenhouse. And one of the most important crops that we like to put in here over these months are lettuce. We always think of lettuce as a plant that we have in spring and through the summer months. It actually doesn't like the summer months so much because it gets quite hot, and these are cool, loving plants. But nevertheless, we do grow them through the summer months, and luckily here in the UK it's very rare for us to get an absolute boiling hot summer. Here in our Newdig Norfolk garden, our summers are sort of 25 degrees Celsius. Every now and again, and if you're a regular follower of our channel, you'll know that, I think it was probably 2 years ago, we suddenly had to do a whole series of videos about the heat wave we were getting. And we literally saw no rain between the beginning of June all the way through to the end of September. We saw temperatures of 39 degrees Celsius, 40 degrees Celsius. That's extremely hot.
The lettuce weren't so happy then.
No, they weren't. They certainly weren't. They'll be happy enough here under cover because they don't like it when it's freezing. But they do like the cooler weather. And because these undercover spaces don't really get any frost, they will grow away. They will grow slowly. Doesn't stop you picking the leaves. This first variety I'm going to plant is a variety called Arctic King. Rather tends to suggest that it's a good lettuce to grow over the winter period. And we did really well with these last year, didn't we?
We did. They're really nice lettuce, aren't they?
Yeah. You can see they've formed a really nice root ball. So they're really healthy plants that are going to be going into here. And in you go. And I probably should just tell you, because we're undercover and it doesn't see the water so much, Mrs. W has already pre-watered these holes, haven't you?
Yes, yeah. Give them a little pre-start.
And of course they're going to get a really lovely start because we've given this a nice mulch of our homemade compost. As well as the Arctic King, we also enjoyed and liked to grow the winter density. And the great thing about these is that, both lettuces actually, is that we can enjoy some leaves from them between now and Christmas. And by the time we get to February and March, when the daylight is lengthening and it starts to warm up a bit, we then leave them to heart up. And then we get a nice hearted lettuce to eat. Now when it comes to alliums, we have lots of onions down at the house in the store cupboard, which is amazing. We also haven't touched our leeks yet, and we have several that are ready. And I'm getting to the point now, it's sort of mid-October, and I'm thinking I would like a nice leek. Also we have salad onions that won't be long before they're ready, and we'll be able to enjoy those through November and December. And if you think we can pick these wonderful salad leaves and some spinach, some salad onions, make ourselves a lovely winter salad to enjoy for our evening meals. But it doesn't stop there. We do have to keep thinking that every time we pull a multi-sown bunch of onions out to enjoy, we can't enjoy them anymore. So we do have to keep the continuity going. These were some salad onions that I sowed at the back end of August. That's why they're looking quite large.
They are,
And in fact, if you look right there, Mrs. W, you can actually see that some of them are starting to bulb up.
Oh, they are, aren't they? Yes, they desperately need to get in, don't they?
Yes. The reason they're being left here is because everything has been doing so well in the undercover spaces with a very warm August and September that we've had, that we just wanted to get as many things to ripen as possible. Now, down at Mrs. W's feet, we have some more salad onions. And I have some more in the polytunnel. Now, they are much less advanced. And the idea of those is to actually go into that raised bed that we have in front of the polytunnel. We did plant some salad onions there earlier, about 3-4 weeks ago. They will go towards the back of that when we now clear the tomatoes that were in there and the sunflowers that were in there. They will not harvest this side of Christmas. They will grow away nicely, get to a certain size, and they'll go to sleep for a little while. And next February they'll wake up and they'll get away really strongly because they're already of a decent size. And we'll have salad onions sometime in April and May. So you see, the allium family really is quite flexible, and if you get the right mix in place, you can be getting that amazing onion taste for most of the year. And of course, Mrs. W, I forgot to say, that's without the lovely chives that you have down in our herb bed.
Yes, there's the chives as well.
Now these are going to go in front of these potatoes. And they're a variety called Guardsman. I find them to be a really good autumn and overwintering salad onion. And of course, as usual, as we do here in our New Dig Norfolk garden, they are multi-sown. And what I can do is, when it comes to harvesting these, I can take the biggest ones from each clump, or if they're all of a good size, I can take the whole clump, and I have my bunch of salad onions. And myself and Mrs. W find that winter salads are really quite lovely. And it's a good job that we can have them, because by the time you've eaten a lot of the hearty foods that we do cook here in the UK, we have lots of casseroles, lots of roasts, some lovely liver and bacon the other day Mrs. W did. You do need to have a breather from that and have something just that little bit lighter. Otherwise my expanding waistline shall get ever larger. So we've done our lettuce, that's great. And we've got our salad onions in. But to mix in with the lettuce, I do find that rainbow chard is really quite lovely. Not just for its taste, but for its appearance. If you look at that, there's some reds and yellows there, and they really brighten up a winter's evening when you see some of that on your plate. Now they produce quite prolifically, and especially as they're going to be undercover. And we multi-sow them as we do the salad onions. And they're going to go in there right at the very front of the greenhouse. A plant that I find absolutely invaluable at this time of year is spinach. And spinach can grow away in here quite nicely, and we'll get some nice little harvests over the next few weeks. And then, like most of the plants that we put in here, they'll slow right down as we get to December and January. But then they'll pick up again in February and get away nice and quickly. And they give us lots and lots of lovely leaves. Now we do aim to get 2 spinach plants per cell. They grow quite happily away together and you get double the harvest in the same space. And to ensure that you do get plenty of harvests from your plants, you do need 1 or 2 of them. It's no good just putting a couple of plants in. You really do need to have 1 or 2 plants. And I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. I've got 20 plants that are going to be going in here. These have obviously been in here for a while. I sowed these. These were a sowing that were made right at the very end of August. So they're about 5 weeks old now. And you can see on some of them, they're not going to be long before actually we can start to take our first harvests off.
Yes, there's 20 cell spaces, but there's actually like 40 plants when they're multi-sown, isn't there? So that's...
Oh yes.
And I think we've got some more to go into the poly when we do it as well, so...
We have. Now, typically, I miscounted. I didn't actually have 20 cells of the spinach, but I have got some more in the polytunnel that's going to go in, so it'll be fine. So those other holes I've just filled in with the salad onions that I had left over. So that's quite good, because I've used every plant that we have raised. Now, the plants here are still quite tiny, but here in our Zone 9A garden, it will remain relatively mild, certainly by day, for the next 6 weeks or so. So they're going to get themselves established and get themselves going. They don't need a huge amount of room, so I'm quite happy to leave these bell peppers and chili peppers in situ. They are actually starting to go red, even those that appear to be green. I can see some reddish marks now starting to appear on them. And I would rather like to have them before I take them out. In fact, even this chili, Mrs. W, look, that's
that's starting to turn, isn't it? And that's just in a couple of days since we cleaned the greenhouse, and that's only a short time. But
yeah.
It has just been that nice little bit warmer, so hopefully.
Yeah, it has, yeah. It has. Our temperatures have been nearer the 20-degree mark than sort of 7 or 8. It's amazing what difference that temperature does make. They're all in place, and as soon as we now finish, I shall give these a good drink of water to help them settle in. You would never actually know that this greenhouse was empty a few days ago, and now we have a whole host of plants. We're going to have some nice new potatoes to have with all our amazing salad plants that we have here in the greenhouse. So I hope that if you haven't grown plants in your undercover spaces, that this give you some inspiration to do that. There's actually no need to leave this space empty. It's valuable growing space. You couldn't grow these crops as well outside. They'll grow much larger and give you better harvests when they're grown undercover. When I think of our viewers from New Zealand, for example, like Helen, she watches our channel and always comments, which is amazing, but now she's got to go all the way back to spring, because they'll now be in their spring and heading towards summer. Of course, some of you will experience harsh frosts at this time of the year, really cold weather. And you might not be able to do exactly what we're doing, so you may have planted yours in earlier. Whatever your situation, wherever you are in the world, do leave us a comment and let us know exactly how you have prepared your undercover spaces in preparation for the winter months. If you like what we do and our no-dig methods, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We'd love to take you on our journey through the rest of 2024 but also as we go into 2025. Have a great gardening week, and I shall see you very soon.